Hey, what's up, everybody? Daddy Louie here. You are unfamiliar with me. I am a member of the Circle of Nerds. You can find my content online. Most of it is at YouTube/Circle of Nerds. Definitely go check that out. We also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, webpage, all that good stuff. But a big shout out, as always, to Renegade for having me on stream today. In case you have not seen the social media posts or you kind of missed it in intro there, I did get finally the Ranger Ally pack. Thank you to Renegade for helping me get that quicker than I thought it would get here. And so we are going to start every Monday painting from that pack. So the first model up from that pack is the SPD Shadow Ranger Doggy Kruger, as popular from everybody else. Let's go to the table. I'll show you what he looks like. He is, I washed him with soap and water, and then primed him with Wraithbone GW primer. I did this mostly because I didn't want anything to be sticky. You can use any white primer that you want, and I might use Rust-Oleum. Cheap and easy to get. So this model is definitely more complicated than the other models that we have painted on stream up until this point, because as you can see, he has a lot of detail. Not only that, he is, well, a dog. So he has fur, he has texture on his face and on his ears. There's lots of detail here on his back. But yeah, he's definitely going to be a challenge. We might not get the whole entire model completely done stream, but we're definitely going to try. I'm mostly going to focus all of my detailing once I get the base coats on. I'm going to focus most of my detailing on the face because that seems to be giving trouble. Everything else, you know, you can definitely highlight later. You don't have to focus as much on that, and that's what we're going to do. That we are going to paint everything, but we're going to focus the detail on the face if we get to everything else. So paints, I was not familiar with this character prior to it being released in the game, so I had to do a little bit of research. He has a lot of black on his uniform, but we are not going to paint straight black. We're actually going to use German Gray by Vallejo for the black. It is a very good color that mixes black and gray together. And then when we put shade on it, it will darken it down and it will appear black. And then that way it's easier to highlight back up. You'll see when we get to that stage. For the silver bits, we're going to use Lead Belcher. For our shades, we're going to use Nuln Oil for everything except the face. For the face, we're going to use Dragonhof Nightshade. And that's because we're going to want to get some nice blues in there. For our red, we want something a little lighter, not as dark. So we're going to use Scarlet. And he has a lot of light blue on his uniform. So for that, we're going to use just about any bluish gray for this. This just happens to be what I had on hand. And for his face, finally his face, we're going to experiment a little bit. I'm going to try some Crag Blue as a base. Then we're going to highlight up with Altdorf Blue and Algar Blue. We may use Rust Gray and Phrygian Gray for that too. It just kind of depends on how light we want to go, like around his nose and stuff. As always, I am not a pro painter. I consider myself an intermediate painter. My job here, my goal here really is to try and give some confidence to you guys, the viewers, who are new to painters, and show you that that anybody can do. The main goal is just to get you started painting. Painting is fun. It's very relaxing, or it can be very relaxing. It is for me anyway. And I just want to share that hobby with you. So don't wait. Start painting. If you are not confident in your painting abilities, start with something easy. Start with a foot soldier. You know, there's lots of putties and different little minions in this game. Start with something easy before you build yourself up to a more difficult model like this. But yeah, so as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask throughout. I see lots of chat already happening in the chat, which is cool. I got my wet palette ready to go. I got my go, and go ahead and get started. All right, so we're gonna start first with the black on the uniform, since that's the majority of the color. Like I said, we're using this German gray, and you'll see it's pretty close to black. Not on camera, it may actually look. And I do have a handy reference picture for this guy today because, like I said, I am not 100% familiar with the character prior to him being released for the game. I am familiar with SPD, but it was not one that I watched very much. So I know we have some Doggy Kruger fans in the chat, so please feel free to educate us on the character, especially me. And like black pretty much everywhere except for the wrists, and so very excited to paint this model. I was so excited. Ally pack. I had to order him in the regular shipment. I missed out on the exclusive model for this guy, unfortunately, because we were in the middle of buying the house and moving and stuff, so I missed it by like a couple hours. Late. Hopefully I can find an aftermarket version of helmeted guy sometime, unless they re-offer him, which it's the only thing that I've missed so far. Power Ranger. I pre-ordered Bulk and Skull like day that they were announced. I jumped on both the Kickstarters, or all three of the Kickstarters. Else. When you're painting the pants, these two lines here that run down his right leg are two different colors. One is that light blue red. You can paint over them with the black and then do it later. I'm just gonna be careful. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Mine not long enough. Everybody else's was long. Around the house. Me too. I did get a microphone, so had to do some adjusting to. So if at any time loud, too quiet, please let me know. I hear might not be the same thing that you. Kind of see that, like, from a distance, it's pretty black. Not really. Because we chose a white primer.
Can't be without you. This bond is solid gold. We're a diamond and an emerald. It took me forever to find you. 'Cause when it's all over, the love that you give will be there to guide you in every way. Now we've been through the cold and darkest days. The summer's calling.
His boots might. I think they go. Slime. If you're anything like me, I don't have very much using my own color palettes. No matter what I paint, box art, and I'm like, these are the colors I'm going to. I give a lot of credit to people. Don't necessarily care about screen accuracy. They want to invent their own color palettes for certain things or use alternate color palettes. Box art, and no matter what I'm painting, that's usually very few exceptions. Basically, if I need if I can find a reference picture, that's the color. I'm gonna paint it a color that I can look. Color palette I can look. Start to finish. Looks like it's peeing. And where you got everything. Got those little lines that go down his pants. Got them right here on his chest too. I just accidentally following along with me. Avoid getting paint. If you're wondering, I'm using a #1 size paintbrush. Bro. Because I feel like they're very similar. Get a number 0. some extra. Let's see. Let's take a look at Front's picture. Looks like on the inside of these zeros, right here on the chest, is black and red. Black. And then his nose is black too, but we're not going to worry about them until after done with. Find a picture of the head so I don't. Same color as his fur. Different color. Someone tells them, I'll. Couldn't find a picture. I even looked at toys. Toys are, I think I said it on one of the other streams, but the Power Ranger toys are actually differences. Goes. I have done that for Megazord. Play Power Rangers this weekend. And if you didn't get to play this week, teams. There he is. Got like on, but they're like race clubs. Where through. I'm gonna put a little. He also has this little comp device. I think it's a comp. I don't know. Feel bad because hardcore. That's not a comm device. Teleporter? Is it a teleporter? Teleport him. Does it morph him? Is that his morpher? Definitely fewer than like 5. I think it's black. Cover it up. And go until like Friday night, Saturday morning, something like that. But I was gonna get this in the mail, or I would have watched SPD. Usually the chat's blowing up and telling me stuff. Once everybody's so quiet. So. Rom Head Tech, he said that he multi-tap. Drop the knowledge when you can. Almost done with the black. Start working. Yo, great. We're essentially going to do the whole uniform, then we're going to do the headlamp that way. You can put the wash on the uniform. Thank you for saying that. It is kind of a challenging looking model. Like, it's definitely, look at it compared to some of the other Rangers in the game, and you're like, man, this a lot of different colors, a lot. Really, the thing that you should worry about is just making sure that you're having fun while you're doing it. Frustrated. Focus on one color at a time. Get all of the color, like I'm doing all. That's right now what I'm focusing. Think about any of the other color. Just want to get that base color of that one color on there, and got everything up. And honestly, I mean, nothing's really come together yet. They just got that dark gray on there that again looks black. My mic may have cut out because it pulled away. I will try not to do that. Let's see here. So we're gonna do that blue now. That's a really good question about how you choose the color that you're going to start with. So for me, it's kind of it depends. It really depends on the model. So if the model, like in this case with Doggy Kruger here, I chose the black because it is the predominant color, and I also looked at where the black was located. So I try and start as close to the center of the model as I can and work outward. The only time that is not true is if there is skin. If there is like human skin, I have it's more of a challenging color for me, so I tend to do skin first. So if this was human, if Doggy here was human and everything else was the same, I probably actually would have started with the head, and then worked my way to the bigger colors and then worked outward from center outward, which is easier. Plus, in little details like this is the zeros on his chest. That's just a little easier to do. That's how I choose. And everybody's different. You do whatever works easier for you. You just want to start painting. Can't emphasize that enough. Just get started. All right, so now we're going with rust gray, and this is going to be for all of the blue bits on the uniform. Just looking at a picture real quick. Okay. So lots of blue on the shin areas, these arm areas, blue on the collar, and then these straps, and then the lines up and down the uniform. And this gray might be too gray now that I'm actually looking at it. Let's see what it looks like on the model. Too gray and not blue enough. I don't know. Actually, I really like that. Might need to do coats to make. Okay. If you want your grays to be darker, if you're painting this model as well, and you want your gray / blue to be darker, my suggestion is to use I thought I had it handy. Oh, I do. It's right here. My suggestion is to use the Fang. It's kind of in the same like triangle of blues as the as this rust gray that I'm using right now. It's just like a shade darker. But I personally like this light blue, so we're gonna go with it. For those that were having issues hearing me a minute ago, did it get any better? I think it may have been because I was moving away. I just want to make sure. But yeah, this new mic, I put a noise gate on the new mic. So if I'm too far away from the mic, it may not catch sound. I may need to turn the noise gate down a little bit when I'm streaming. In my other house, before we moved, I had my noise gate up like super high because the dogs would bark, and like every bark, it was. Now I'm on a different floor than the dogs. Even if they bark, you shouldn't hear them. Hey Ryan, welcome to the stream. Ryan. Thomas. Oh, you're Ryan. Oh, Ryan. I was like, oh wait, that's not your name. Welcome everyone that is new to the stream. Today we are painting Doggy Kruger. He is the SPD Shadow Ranger. And as you can see, he is a dog. So we're going to experiment with some fur in a minute. That'll be fun. Right now we're just getting some base colors on. I really like this gray, but it is very transparent. Only gonna need 2 coats. Nice. Yeah, get some work in. Get to painting. That's what we want to do. Just paint as much as possible. Trying to figure out which part of the. It looks like his gauntlets here are primarily blue, and there is some red, and then there's also blue on his shins. Trying to attack that now. The reason that I took the model off of the painting handle that I was using a minute ago is just to make it easier for the stream to see when I'm painting top down like this. Normally, if I'm painting, I use a thing like it just helps me. So on this leg, he doesn't really have the line so much, but on this leg over here, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's quite a nice separation between the front of the shin armor and the back of the shin armor. So the front of the shin armor, according to the picture I'm looking at, is this color. Back is silver. So on that other shin, you can't really line very well. And it might just be, you know, the casting of the model I got. Normally the casting lines really pop, so it might also be, no, thought maybe it was also because difference between the inside and the outside. We're just gonna make like an imaginary line here. That looks good to me. So we can paint in half blue, other half in silver. It is a very faint blue. So like I said, we need coats. The other thing too is it'll dull down a lot when we put the wash on it. Not really taking my time on those parts. But that blue really starts to bring that black I like it a lot. Got the circles on his gauntlet, I believe, but to save myself some time, paint everything, and then details are kind of small. If I sat here and went over the whole thing with the blue and I was like trying to be careful around that spot, it would be.
And now it's just like, man, you gotta have that time where you just like disconnect from the scene, just the race. Like, and it's a race that I've created in my head, you know? But you have to step away from it.
Alright, let's see where. So it looks like the blue line on the front of his uniform here is line on the outside, and then the line on the inside is red. Oh. I'm gonna paint kind of sloppily. Sloppily, is that a word? Because it is a fine detail. And obviously I'm gonna have to go much. Because I'm basically, right now what I'm doing is then I'll have to go second blue. It doesn't look terrible. And then it looks like his collar might be the... but it's only kind of like a half collar on both sides. It's, it doesn't go all the way around in the back. Like threads fall behind his neck. Just... All right. Well, that is. I think that's all the blue or gray or whatever color you want to as. Now we're going to do the silver, and the reason that I'm going to do the silver before I do the red is because of the belt, and also because of the sword. The sword has some red on it too. So for the silver, we're going to use lead belcher. Use any silver that you choose. Army Painter also makes a really great silver. I don't really have any experience with Vallejo and their metallics, but I've heard good things. So Vallejo is your thing, you can use that too. I'm gonna go with our trusty lead belcher. We'll do the sword first. We're just gonna coat the whole thing in silver. There are some details that are red, but we'll get those. Metallics I do not water down. Some people, I don't. Wet palette because 2 reasons. One, I try and keep my wet palette for at least different sessions. Change it out, sometimes 3. And I'll show you my wet palette in a second. What happens is if for some reason it's not on a flat surface while it's sitting, and it's wet enough, which it should be, your paints will run together on the wet palette. And that's what happens to me a lot, because I keep all of my painting stuff like on a little cart. Flat surface. Alex, delete. That's really the main. Plus, like I said, I don't wet them. So that's the sword done. Cool. It looks like the knee pads, the back of the knee. So the outline of these knee pads here is what's silver. The inside's going to be red. You could do this in either order. Red first and then the silver outline. Brushes are co-op.
Brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And for quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business is humongous, you
Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm in the detail here, and I don't want to screw them up. But you see how the separation between the silver and the blue? That's what you're going for. But for some reason, my paintbrushes are not holding a tip today. Alright. Oh, at my brush and it will cooperate a little. Make sure that you guys are my biggest suggestion to you when it comes to brushes is not to focus on the quality of the brush. You know, cheap brushes are okay, but make sure that you're cleaning your brushes after each session. Go to a hobby store, get yourself some brush cleaner. It really does help to preserve the tips of the brushes, and it helps bring a point back to the brushes. So after each session, you're not basically experiencing what I'm experiencing now, which is where the tips of your brushes won't. We're gonna paint the entire belt silver as well. There are some red details, but it'll be easy to get those silver. If you want to keep it silver, you can. Brush is holding better. I don't know about his holster. I think I'm gonna paint his holster. Picture that the reference picture I have, it looks like it's white. And doing grit. Ever watched him paint before? Save that for last. Got a little bit of silver on his pants. It's okay, we can fix that in post. And what I mean by in post is post-production. Base colors on production mode. Friend. Circle under. Fix it in post. It may be time for a new brush, but I think I can save these. I'm giving you guys the advice of cleaning your brushes. I have not cleaned these brushes once since I started doing these streams, and this is like my third stream, so I'm not even following my own advice. But you can bet when I'm done today, I'm gonna go clean my brushes. I used to do it religiously, but my sink and everything is upstairs and all my equipment's in the basement. So when I'm done streaming, I usually just clean up my stuff, go upstairs, and then I don't touch my equipment again until the next week. And by then I have forgotten to clean my brushes. Today I'll make sure I'm upstairs. I want to try and save these. These particular brushes are not cheap, so if I don't have to buy new brushes, then I don't want to. It picked up. Or nobody wants dancing. That's what's happening. emblems on his shoulders. To me, they look like police badges. I'm gonna paint mine silver and try and bring out the details with the wall. But I think that's all the silver bits. Let me just check out my picture real quick. Silver, silver, silver. Yep, that's all the silver bits. Good. So now we'll switch over to the red. Try and get this red on in the next 10 minutes, so at least all of the done. Oh, I was gonna show you guys my wet. All my have run, and that's because, like I said, I keep it on an uneven surface. I keep my wet palette very wet. It's everywhere. Well, you know, I do on a flat surface. All right. So for the reds, we're going to use Evil Sun Scarlet. If I can get the paint to come out of the pot. Of course, my pot is going to chew out a clog. A while back, I took all of my GW paints and I converted them from the pots to the droppers. And while I do enjoy having droppers as opposed to pots, they get clogged. Good. Alright, so the red is a much finer detail on this model, so we're going to have to be a little more careful than normal. Like, I don't want to get any red on the outside. I only want to get the red on the inside. I'm going to take my time. Go quieter than normal because I don't want to do the wrong. We're pretty close to my goal. My goal was to have all of the base colors done and shaded in the first hour. We could spend the whole second hour working on just the face. We're gonna come close to that, but probably. I may have a, I'll talk to Renegade, see if at the end, like when I'm done with the whole box of Ranger Ally Pack, I'll just, I'll have like one episode where or one stream where I just go back to all the models and I just do like the super fine detail to like really make them pop. Just have that called like the detail episode. I don't know. Because 2 hours is a lot of time, but in the painting world, it's never enough time. Especially when you are a... Because I still have Tommy, the Tommies, White Ranger and Red Turbo on my painting desk, and they need some final details just to make them really pop. that I didn't have time to do on the streams. And I was going to do them off camera and then just post a picture. Look at how nice that red like brings the whole model together. Like it a lot. Okay, what else is red here? Detailed.
Looks like a blink of an eye's not enough. She'd rather be staying for days now. I'd rather fix it than mess up again. She'd rather be burning it all now. I know it will end up in anger. I don't think we grew up, we just became older. She's aiming her words, ready to fire. I don't think that bullets will bring back desire. I don't think that bullets will bring back desire.
Yep, I am going to paint the whole Ranger Ally pack on stream. So, make sure that you guys let me know in the comments who you'd like to see next. And whoever gets the most votes, paint next. That is who I will paint next. And if only one person votes, then that's the thing that's going to win. I'll probably post to the group, the Facebook group. If you are not a member of the Facebook group, highly recommend that you go and check it out. Even if you don't own the game, even if you don't play Power Rangers yet, it will definitely entice you to play it. Because there's some really great folks over there. And lots of really talented, adding like a couple of device and out. There's some great people over there. I've made quite a few friends part of that group. All right, 2 votes already for Phantom Ranger. That's cool. I really like Magna Defender and Ninjor. I may actually purposely leave Ninjor for last because it's my favorite in the box. Steel Gold would be a close second to my favorite in the box, but he has 2 models. He has 1, so. hold my breath for this. Turned out pretty good. Again, keep in mind, you know, there's still some white in there. Once we throw the shade on there, that all of that will get covered up. Now we just gotta do the line. So you don't have a lot of paint on your paintbrush, because that is a thin line. Alright. I had to get my face really close to the model so I could see the line. Alright, so that's it. That's the base colors of the uniform. We're going to throw the shade on there now and let it dry and start working on the face, because we're already over an hour. We're going to use Nuln Oil for the uniform. We're just going to put it all over. It's going to dull down the blue. It's going to dull everything, but remember we didn't use black for the uniform. We used German gray. And once it's all dry, you'll see why we used that. It's really going to make that sucker pop. Bottom. I'm realizing as I just did that I did not paint the red detail on the sword. So I'm going to have to come back and do that once it's dry, because that was rough. Really, you guys. I love this. Makes me want to dance. So if I was not on stream, I would let this dry before I, yes, this is Null Oil. I would let this dry before I did the face, but we're not going to do that. Fine. But if you are doing this at home, and you're not watching me live or not following along with me live, let this dry. He actually looks kind of cool. Like, I wish I could just leave him like as an albino Doggy Kruger, because he actually looks pretty cool. I could definitely make some albino hair work for him, and that would look actually pretty cool. Albino doggy, yep. But for purposes of screen accuracy, I'll not do that. So you can see all those spots that we missed that were still white have now filled in with the black. And look how good that looks. Not even dry yet. It just looks great. I think it looks super cool. I'm wanting to get some really nice shadows around like the details of these orbs on his gauntlets. Well, trying not to let it spots that I want. So, we will now move on. So depending on what screenshot you look at, the color of his skin is slightly different. Sometimes it's a light blue, sometimes it's really dark blue. I shouldn't say his skin, his fur. I'm going to go a little darker, and the reason that I'm going a little darker is because it seemed like that was kind of the majority of the images that I saw. He had like a dark color. I just dropped my paint. Hold on. Plus, I think that having his hair dark will make the rest of the uniform pieces pop a little bit. I say that, and he pops super well with that with that white fur now. So we'll see if my theory is correct. But it's also easier to start dark and work your way light than to start light and get darker. So we're gonna start with McCrag Blue. It's one of the darker, if not the darkest blue GW make. Mine is pre-watered down, so I have to really shake it. You can absolutely paint this. You know, take your time. There are lots of, and when I say lots, I mean lots of guides and stuff out there. I started painting, I watched literally hundreds hours of painting videos. It's just like anything else, right? You're gonna get better with time. The biggest thing is not to wait. Not wait to start painting. Paint as soon as possible. Because the sooner that you start painting, the more that you're going to want to paint. And Yeah, it's not as overwhelming as you think, I promise. If I can do it, anybody can. I have very shaky hands, small hands. I have ADD. All these things. And I have overcome a lot of that by painting. Changing brushes from my 0 to my 1 to put this base color on. Another strategy to painting, when you're going to watch videos, don't just watch pro painters, because pro painters, they're very good. They started just where you did, by not knowing what they were doing, starting small. But I found, personally, that pro painters used techniques that were hard to get into from the get-go. What I was looking for was something that was easier and that I could work my way up from. So make sure that you're looking up beginner guides, newbie tutorial, like that. Don't just look up, like painting guide for how to paint Kruger guy, Doggy Kruger, painting guide Doggy Kruger. Type in beginner, type in noob, new painter, something to make sure that your search is targeted towards your skill level. Don't rush out to buy the most expensive paints just because they're painting with one color. Like I just told you, I'm using Macragge Blue. If you don't have Macragge Blue, don't just go out and buy it just because I said to use Macragge Blue. Use whatever blue you have there and make it work. Worry about getting expensive paints and the expensive brushes once you're an established painter. The key is just to get started. Alright, so we have the base coat of that blue. It is very blue. Holy moly, it's blue. But that's okay, we're gonna dull it down. I also want to make sure that I get his fingers, and I don't forget about those. Get close again, aren't? Sorry, I'll start talking. Gonna... Alright, not great on the fingers, but at least there's blue where I want blue. I'm gonna lighten up that strength of that. Alright, so let's see. Looking at his face, it's kind of like dark at the top of his head, where his ears are, and then it kind of goes down to like a lighter blue, and it's more of like a gray blue, and I've chosen blue, so I may switch that up. Actually, I may change it up. I think we're gonna change time to change it. So I'm going to change from a crag blue, so really blue. We're gonna go with the fang. More of a gray. And we're gonna just do this real quick. It's still wet, but I'm okay with the mixing the paint colors together so that I can see. I don't want to do the character and the fans of the character. That. But it did provide a nice base coat to mix. Okay. And we are going to wash it with a blue wash, so... Oh yeah, that's... Okay. I'm good with that. I'm happier with the with that blue. Just gonna get a little bit on the fingers. Bear with me for a second. Can't tell on video, but in person that blue doesn't look nearly as blue anymore, and it looks like we didn't any of the details. Good. We're gonna let that dry for a minute. We're gonna start going over some of the other details that did lose their color while this dries, because then we need to throw a wash on it. Cutting it short, so. We're going back to rust gray. Basically right now all I'm doing is going over the rust gray that we originally had laid down with another layer of it. I'm trying to avoid some of the recesses, just dark. You can kind of see there. Shadow. Trying to avoid. That blue really starts to pop once you start putting that color back on there.
Round and round we go, losing self-control. I keep telling myself, but I don't wanna let you know. Is this
Get my face down.
we become?
Quick.
Strangers on the run, looking for something, chasing the sun. All those days, trying to find a place where you'll make them just be alone, be alone. All those nights lying by your side, like a survivor, feeling it shine under your spotlight.
Alright. I'm going to take a break from that and move on to the face real quick. And we're going to use Dragonhoff Nightshade. And I'm going to try and do a light layer because I want it to dry quicker. So I'm just not going to load up as much on my brush. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking of some different strategies I can show you guys to tackle them. And I think we might try dry brushing. There's lots of texture. I'm not particularly great at dry brushing, but that's okay. I think we might be able to get some really good colors. So basically, with dry brushing, we probably want to go got like some almost white underneath his snout, under his mouth. Almost like it fades, like it goes from dark to light. So we'll see what we can do. Just gonna let that dry for a minute. And in the meantime, let's highlight some of the red. So we're going to go back to Evil Sun Scarlet, and we're just going to highlight light highlights. You'll notice I'm not going to do as thick lines and stuff. So I'm just leaving the shade in the crevices there. I'm just highlighting the innermost part of the red. You could take it a step further and grab the next lightest color and do even more on the inside. Which normally I would do, but again, due to time, we're not going to do that right now. I'm very, very happy with how he is. If I had like an hour of time, I could like take it to a whole nother level, I think. There's just so many really cool details on this model that you can really spend ages on just making them really pop and shine. But for the table, I mean, he's pretty good right now. I mean, you could throw him on the table and I think he looks great. Gonna go down into my bird's eye view here. Alright. Yeah, so those red details on the chest there, that 00, that looks awesome. I do want to do, while we're here, I want to do the detail on the sword that I missed. Using the edge of my brush really carefully. Trying not to get any red on the inside there where I want it to be silver. That blue on the face is almost dry. Good. All right. There's our red detail on the sword. We can now highlight silver a little bit. Not gonna, because I'm on it. Make sure that take your time. Problem with metallics is you don't wet them. You can highlight, whatever silvers you want. Due to time, I'm gonna leave that most it is, but these I would probably want to pop a little more. Pretty good. All right, let's work on that blue because we gotta get that to be much duller than what it is. All right, I'm gonna get some paper towel. We are gonna do some serious dry. We don't want a ginormous dry brush for this because we don't want, we don't even really want like this is probably even too big. I think it's the smallest one I got. Let's see. Yeah, we use this one. All right, so I'm going to start with the base color. Which was the fang, right? That's what we ended up going to. We're going to put a little bit on our brush, and then we're going to all right. So once you have the paint mostly off, you're not familiar with dry brushing, put paint on your brush, brush it off with the paper towel, and then just lightly, you don't have to do it hard, go over what it is. Just going to hit the raised edges, some color. Yep, that's good. Just great. Working out just good. I just go straight from the pot. I don't use that palette for this because you don't want the paint to be funny. You want it to be its thick consistency. I do want this all over the model, but I don't want it. I want it mostly around the snout and stuff because the top of his head in the reference picture is still that dark blue. You can't see it for some reason on the camera. It still looks really blue, but it's definitely graying down. So now we're going to switch to rust gray. Right? Yep, rust gray. And this is the same gray that we used on the uniform. And this is going to be a much lighter dry brush than fang color. And we're going to do it again all over, focusing on the underside of his mouth. Sorry that the camera is shaking. It's mounted onto my table, so as I'm like dry brushing, like my whole table. Yeah. You can't really see that too well, but it's getting the color that I want now. So now we're going to start going lighter, leaving the top and focusing on the underside of his mouth. So we're going to switch over to Fenrisian Gray. I don't have a pot for this. This thing here. Probably. I always waste so much paint. I don't dry brush. Dry brush. Because wrong suit. Some people can dry brush and it looks they layered stuff. It's crazy. Again, I'm focusing more on the front of the mouth and underneath here. Not so much back. Transition, you can see how up here it's a little bigger and a little lighter. But we're not done. Now we need to get our white. For me, test it all through in gray. And we're gonna mix the Althuan gray with the Fenrisian gray. So we're actually gonna get a second brush here. And now we're focusing like mostly on the very tip of the nose. And this, I am going to end up getting it on the form, so I'm going to have to go back. See the transition though? We may actually just do straight white. Just for like a tiny, tiny bit. And if you mix it with your what's already on your paintbrush, like I didn't clean my brush. Very, very lightly. How's that look, guys? All right, I'm going to do his eyes now. So if you are not good at doing eyes, or you need some tips on eyes, that is actually surprisingly one of my strong suits. And it's mostly because I just go back and forth over and over and over again until it's perfect. So the first thing that we need is black. As always, I use Vallejo Metal Color Black. So we got to do the nose, right? He is a dog.
Now I know it's over. I see you passing by, hand in hand, with your perfect light. I'm a ghost town. Feels like someone cut my tongue. I didn't know a heart could die this young. Oh, now when I look in your eyes, I feel paralyzed.
All right, so laying the black down will help when we do the white. Makes the white pop a little bit. If you want to leave it like that, you can. But we're going to bring it to another level. So you need your Althuan Gray. Let me put that on my wet palette quick. So we got the model mostly done, 2 hours. Just a little bit of highlighting that needs to be done back on the uniform. Do some stuff with the comm thing that's in his hand. Bring some of those reds and those blues highlighted back up a little bit, but he's like 90%. And everybody got super quiet in the chat. I guess I got quiet too, but you'll have to forgive me. Not breathe. So with eyes, I always do a layer of black and a layer of white, then black again for the pupils. By putting the white down first, or by putting the black down first, it creates a nice shadow behind the white. And the thing is if you screw up on any of these parts, you can easily just go right back to one of the other steps. If I messed up right now, I could just black the whole thing out, start again. There's one little part I up on.
Can you hear my heartbeat calling? Can you feel the love we're falling? Just take my hand and take me home tonight.
Gray.
Throwing caution to the wind. I'll take a chance and let you in. Just take my hand and take me home tonight. We defeat all impossibilities. Yeah, you and me. We'll take our hearts and run free into the wild. Into the
I'm just fixing up the parts where dry brushed and, you know, accidentally got some of that dry brush color on. Like I said, if I had more time, I would finish all of the highlighting. I love highlighting. It's my favorite step of the project. But maybe we'll save it for another stream.
oh, baby, close your eyes and listen to the beat of my heart. Take my hand, don't be afraid.
We'll have like an extreme highlighting episode, and we'll stream highlights on all of the characters that we've painted so far. Let's see, we got 3 minutes left. I'm gonna put some yellow. I have no idea what this little comm device thing looks like. I don't even know if it's a comm device. It might be. That was. I think that was. Wife, talking to the kids through. I just put some lines on there. I don't know. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to look like, but I kind of hate it now. I'm gonna paint over it. Somebody's got to send me a picture of what this thing looks like. I looked everywhere. I couldn't see. I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's like a communicator or his morpher or a teleporter. I don't know what it is. I looked everywhere for a picture. I couldn't. I'm just gonna cover that up. Pretend like you didn't see that. Yeah, and that's it. So, see if I can focus my camera in there. You can see the face. That looks pretty good. I liked how that turned out. Of course, there's a little sloppiness. You can see like some details around there. I would definitely go back and clean that up. We just don't have time to do that on stream. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much my time on stream. I want to thank Renegade, as always, for having me on the stream. If you are not familiar with what I do, you can find all of my content over on youtube.com/Circle of Nerds, one word, and check us out everywhere else. And as always, remember to play your games. Thanks again for having me, and I will see you guys next week.